He left her with nothing but a diaper bag and a broken heart. In a shelter. Right after her baby shower. What he didn't know was this. The woman he abandoned was the daughter of a trillionaire. And months later, when the truth came out, he wouldn't be able to say a single word. The shelter smelled like disinfectant and old coffee. Plastic chairs lined the walls. A few women sat quietly, holding bags, holding babies, holding on. Emily Carter stood at the front desk, one hand on her pregnant belly, the other gripping a small pink gift bag that still had a ribbon on it. Inside were baby socks. A rattle. A card that said you're going to be a great mom. She blinked hard, fighting tears. Behind her, the door opened. Ryan Carter walked in, looking uncomfortable, annoyed, like he wanted to be anywhere else. "I talked to them," he said flatly. "They'll let you stay here for now." Emily turned slowly. "Stay here?" "Yes," Ryan replied. "It's temporary." Her voice trembled. "Ryan, my due date is in 2 months." He sighed. "I can't do this anymore, Emily." Just hours earlier, people had been laughing in their apartment. Pink balloons. Cake. Photos. Friends hugging her belly. Ryan had smiled the whole time. Then, when the last guest left, he packed a bag. "You planned this," Emily whispered. Ryan didn't deny it. "I've been offered a new opportunity," he said. "A fresh start." She swallowed. "With who?" He hesitated. "Someone who understands ambition," he said. "Someone who doesn't come with baggage." Emily's hand instinctively covered her stomach. "Our baby is baggage?" she asked. Ryan looked away. "I'm not ready to be poor," he said. "I'm not ready to struggle." Emily's knees felt weak. She had never told him the truth. Not about her past. Not about her family. She had chosen a simple life. A quiet life. Because she wanted to be loved for who she was. Ryan handed the shelter worker her ID and a folded paper. "She's pregnant," he said. "She needs a bed." Then he turned to Emily. "This is for the best," he added. "You'll understand one day." She waited. For a hug. For an apology. For anything. Ryan walked out without looking back. The door closed. The sound echoed. That night, Emily lay on a narrow bed, staring at the ceiling. Her baby kicked softly, as if asking a question she couldn't answer. "I'm here," she whispered. "I won't leave you." Her phone buzzed. One missed call. Dad. She stared at the name. She hadn't spoken to him in years. Not since she chose to live on her own. Not since she asked him to let her be normal. The phone buzzed again. A message appeared. "Emily, I know where you are. Please let me come get you." Her breath caught. She typed slowly. "I'm okay. I just need time." 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then a new message came. "You never have to suffer to prove anything. You are my daughter." Tears slid down her temples into her hair. She turned onto her side and hugged the gift bag from the baby shower to her chest. Ryan thought he had escaped a burden. He thought he had chosen better. He had no idea that the woman sleeping on a shelter bed that night was the only child of Alexander Hale, one of the wealthiest men in the world. And that months later, when the truth finally reached him, it would leave him completely speechless. Emily stayed at the shelter for 3 weeks. Not because she had to. Because she wanted to. She wanted to be sure she could survive on her own. She wanted to know what kind of world her child might face if she chose a simple life forever. Every morning, she helped clean the kitchen. She folded donated clothes. She listened to other women's stories, stories of loss, fear, and quiet courage. No one there knew who she was. They only knew Emily, the gentle pregnant woman who always said thank you. One afternoon, a staff member handed her a phone. "There's someone here asking for you," the woman said softly. "He says he's your father." Emily's heart skipped. She nodded. Outside, a black SUV waited. A tall man stepped out. Alexander Hale. Silver hair. Calm eyes. expensive suit that somehow looked simple on him. He didn't speak at first. He just looked at her belly. Then he opened his arms. Emily walked into them and broke down. "I didn't want your money," she cried. "I wanted to be loved." Alexander held her tightly. "And you were," he said. "Just not by the right man." That same day, Emily left the shelter. Not in shame. In quiet dignity. Alexander set her up in a peaceful apartment near the ocean. Nothing flashy. Just safe. Doctors were arranged. Nutritionists. Everything Emily needed. Still, she kept her old clothes. Her simple habits. 2 months later, Emily gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She named her Hope. Meanwhile, Ryan's life looked perfect. Photos with his new girlfriend, Melissa Grant, a marketing executive, filled his social media. New car. New apartment. New confidence. "She was holding me back," he told friends. "I did the right thing." He never asked about the baby. One afternoon, Ryan received an email invitation. Subject: Hale Family Trust, beneficiary meeting. He frowned. He had no idea why his name was on the list. Curiosity 1. The meeting took place in a private conference room at a luxury hotel. Several lawyers sat at a long table. At the head sat Alexander Hale. Ryan felt small immediately. The lead attorney began to speak. "This meeting concerns the future of the Hale Family Trust and its beneficiaries." Ryan leaned forward. Then the door opened. Emily walked in. She carried her baby. She looked calm. Strong. Whole. Ryan's mouth fell open. "Emily," he whispered. The lawyer continued. "Ms. Emily Hale, daughter of Alexander Hale and sole heir to the Hale Global Trust." Ryan felt dizzy. Alexander spoke calmly. "You abandoned my daughter," he said. "And you abandoned your child." Ryan stood up too fast. "I didn't know." "If I had known." Emily's voice was soft but firm. "That's the point," she said. She looked at him, not with anger, but with clarity. "You left when you thought I had nothing." The lawyer placed a document in front of Ryan. "This confirms," he said, "that you have no claim to the Hale estate." Ryan's hands shook. Emily kissed her baby's forehead. "You made your choice," she said. "So did I." Ryan couldn't speak. He had no words. Because in that moment, he realized. He hadn't just walked away from a wife. He had walked away from a life he could never reach again. Ryan sat frozen in his chair. The room felt smaller. Hotter. Like the air had been pulled away. Emily stood across from him, holding her baby with steady arms. She didn't look angry. She didn't look proud. She looked finished. "This meeting is not about punishment," Alexander Hale said calmly. "It's about boundaries." Ryan finally found his voice. "I want to see my daughter." Emily looked at him. "You didn't ask when I was sleeping on a shelter bed," she said softly. "You didn't ask when I went into labor." Ryan's shoulders dropped. "I was scared." Emily nodded. "So was I." The lawyer cleared his throat. "There are legal steps required for visitation. For now, all communication will go through counsel." Ryan nodded quickly. "Of course. Anything." The meeting ended without drama. Emily walked out first. Ryan followed a few steps behind, watching her get into a black car. The door closed quietly. The engine started. And she was gone. That night, Ryan sat alone in his apartment. Melissa wasn't there. She had left earlier, angry and confused after hearing rumors about the meeting. "You never told me your ex was that kind of rich," she had said coldly. Ryan stared at his phone. No messages. No replies. Days passed. Then weeks. Ryan's life slowly unraveled. His job became unstable after a failed merger. His new car was repossessed. Melissa stopped answering his calls. One afternoon, Ryan received a letter. Family court notice. Emily was requesting full custody. He went to the hearing. Emily arrived with her lawyer. Calm. Prepared. Ryan came alone. The judge listened carefully. Evidence was presented. Shelter records. Messages left unanswered. Medical forms signed by Emily alone. The judge looked at Ryan. You chose to leave, she said. A child is not something you come back to when it's convenient. Full custody was granted to Emily. Ryan didn't argue. He couldn't. Outside the courthouse, reporters gathered, but not for him. They surrounded Alexander Hale. Emily stood beside her father, holding hope. Flashes went off. Is it true your daughter lived in a shelter? Someone asked. Alexander answered calmly. Yes. Why? Because she chose love over money, he replied. And that choice made her stronger. Ryan watched from a distance. No one noticed him. For the first time, he understood what it meant to be invisible. Months later, Emily sat in a garden behind her father's home. Hope slept peacefully in her arms. Alexander poured tea. You handled everything with grace, he said. Emily smiled faintly. I learned that strength doesn't need to shout, she replied. Across town, Ryan walked past a park. He saw a woman pushing a stroller. For a moment, he imagined it was Emily. He stopped, then kept walking. Because some losses don't come with second chances. Emily looked down at her daughter and whispered, You will never have to beg for love. And she meant it. Life didn't change for Emily overnight. It expanded. Quietly. Carefully. She didn't rush into the spotlight. She didn't post photos or give interviews. She focused on one thing, raising her daughter with peace, not noise. Emily moved into a beautiful but simple home in Carmel, California. Ocean air. White walls. Sunlight every morning. Hope grew fast. Her first laugh came during a morning walk by the beach. Emily cried when she heard it. I'm here, she whispered. Always. Alexander visited often, but he never took control. He watched. He learned from his daughter. You're a better parent than I ever was, he admitted one evening. Emily shook her head. You gave me space to choose, she said. That's love too. Months later, the Hale Foundation announced a new program, housing and medical support for pregnant women abandoned by partners. No press conference. No speeches. Just action. Emily never put her name on it. But the women at the shelter remembered her. Ryan's life went the opposite direction. His apartment was gone. His savings were gone. Melissa had blocked him completely. The company he worked for downsized. His position was cut. One rainy night, Ryan sat in a cheap diner, staring at cold coffee. The TV above the counter played a business news segment. The Hale Family Trust, now overseen by Emily Hale, continues to expand its global impact. Ryan froze. Emily appeared on screen. Not dressed flashy. No makeup. Holding a baby on her hip. Confident. Calm. Real. The reporter asked, Ms. Hale, what motivates your work? Emily answered simply, Because I know what it feels like to be left with nothing, she said. And I don't want anyone to feel invisible. Ryan's hands trembled. He finally understood. Emily didn't need revenge. Her life itself was the consequence. A year later, Emily stood at Hope's first birthday party. There were balloons, cake, laughter. Women from the shelter attended. Doctors, volunteers, friends. Alexander stood in the corner, watching his daughter command the room, not with power, but with presence. Ryan wasn't invited. But he heard about it. He always would. That night, Emily tucked Hope into bed. She kissed her forehead and turned off the light. As she closed the door, she whispered words she once needed to hear herself. You are enough. Even when no one sees it. And somewhere else in the city, Ryan sat alone, haunted not by what he lost, but by what he walked away from. Because some doors don't close loudly. They close softly. And you only hear the sound when it's too late. If this story moved you even a little, If you believe quiet strength is the most dangerous kind. If you know someone who chose dignity over desperation, like this video to support stories that honor strong women. Subscribe for more powerful, emotional stories that reveal hidden truths. Comment below, what would you have done if you were Emily? Because sometimes, the people who walk away thinking they won are the ones who lose everything. See you in the next story.